Leny Yoro is going through a tough patch at Manchester United. You could see from his reaction to going on the bench against Crystal Palace that he's feeling that. So I want to do this video to say a few things about Yoro in his second season at United that I feel deserve to be said, and I genuinely hope Yoro watches this video too. And when it comes to being a Premier League footballer these days, you have to deal with a lot more scrutiny than players 10 years ago did. That's what social media has done. It's brought new money, it's brought bigger brands and bigger personal profiles, but also more scrutiny. And when it comes to Manchester United, that's pushed up to the nth degree. So I want to do this video basically in support of Leny Yoro. I genuinely hope that he watches this video because I want to run through everything that's happened with him so far, the struggles that he's currently going through, and what I think will happen next. Now, Yoro, keep your head up, man, because like when you saw him, that was just after he was subbed against Crystal Palace. He made, let's be honest, it was a clumsy mistake. It was a really nice pass from Wharton. He was behind Mateta. Maybe he lost his footing, clipped him, or did he clip him? Either way, it was a bit clumsy. Penalty was given. United came back, but it was 1-1 when he was taken off. But Yoro so far, I want to rewind to last season, okay? Because he's had to deal with some setbacks before, and he dealt with them spectacularly, and he'll deal with this one perfectly as well, I've got no doubt. Starting with, going on crutches in the pre-season and missing the first 3 months as a Manchester United player. So by the time he made his debut, we had a new manager in. And then in only his third game, this happened. And this is kind of something that reminds what I'm seeing right now with Leny Yoro. He's not in the best of form in the last couple of games. He's struggling. And I remember that game against Southampton last season. Suleimani, it was only his third start in a Manchester United shirt. And he got ran ragged. And he got slaughtered in the press, right? They were trying to use it, not trying to use it against him, but just trying to say that he wasn't ready. He's not good enough. You're not good enough to be a Manchester United player. And what do we see after? You remember that penalty? That penalty was a month later. The first ever penalty that he's ever taken in his career, by the way. Against Arsenal in the FA Cup. Slotted it home at the Emirates. That was when Xerxes scored the winner, actually. And then from that point on, for the rest of the season, I'd probably say Yoro was one of Manchester United's best and most impressive players. You can see the stats here for how he ended that season compared to where he was only a few months before. He developed massively in that first season. And if you look at Leny Yoro now and how Yoro's been playing this season, I think he'll admit this himself, I don't think he's progressed and developed in that same trajectory. Ruben Amorim's left him out a couple of times from the team, playing sometimes De Ligt at right centre-back against Chelsea, for example. He wanted something more physical. But he's struggling right now. And I'll tell you one person I really want to praise in this regard, and it's really got me thinking. I want to praise Rio, man. From this video, remember when Leny Yoro's announcement, and Rio was there on the phone to his first interview with the club, to interviewing him for his own channel, to saying this after the Palace game. Rio's really got Yoro's back. And you know what it almost feels like I'd love to see? I don't know whether I'm overthinking this, but imagine there were, United had some sort of mentor role set up with former icons of our club, Van der Sar in goal, or Rio, or Scholes, or Rooney, or Keane. I mean, good luck working with Keane again, United, but wouldn't it be awesome for these younger players? And like Yoro in particular, of course, we signed him for a huge amount of money from Real Madrid, so the scrutiny was huge for him straight away as an 18-year-old. He's only just turned 20, by the way. But I genuinely think that he's got somebody in Rio that he can lean on, that he could message and say, how do you deal with this at United? How do you deal with that? There's certain questions that these youngsters might not get answered unless they speak to somebody like Rio who's experienced it at United. I just randomly thought of that. Like, how cool would it be if there was like a former United legends mentor scheme? I'm not saying like it's an actual scheme that gets set up. But Colby, for example, is there somebody that he can speak to? I suppose that's a little bit different. But after the game against Crystal Palace, you saw Mason Mount going over and kind of consoling him. Wasn't consoling. United had just won, but just saying, look, lad, keep your head up. You saw Leny Yoro on Instagram after the game as well. You can read that down there. Challenging days, mindset locked in. For though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again. Proverb, very nice. Leny Yoro's going through a tough patch right now. Just like he went through a very hard introduction, really, to what the Premier League is, what the Premier League can do to you, and the scrutiny that comes and follows you around after a game. Last season, he overcame that. He developed it, made him a better player as a consequence. This season, he will do the exact same from this situation. And I just wanted to do this video as a sort of like, from a supportive fan's perspective. Yoro has... You know what I think about Yoro? I still wonder what his long-term position at United is going to be, because part of me thinks that it might be as a central centre-back in the future. But I suppose that kind of depends on what happens with De Ligt and what happens in that position. But he's not smarting right now. I reckon he probably sat on that bench thinking, oh, I've made a mistake there, which is going to make United drop points, and I've put pressure on the manager, and he's putting that all on himself. So, you know, a good thing about that is that his teammates did the job in that second half. We turned that 1-0 deficit into a 2-1 victory. So any mistakes that were made, I suppose a little bit like last season with Southampton and Suleimani, because he didn't have a good game. It was tough, but I think that was the game where Ahmad scored a hat-trick and Manchester United won 3-2. So any mistakes that were made were just lessons that can be learned from, not lessons that really have an impact on the rest of the season. That's exactly what that game against Crystal Palace was, and it was nowhere near the same sort of level of scrutiny that he got after the Southampton game. I think that's probably more personal reflection on his own standards that he's setting for himself. But yeah, mate, it must be hard, really hard, having that much scrutiny on everything you do. And when it comes to communities and channels like United People's TV, I know that sometimes I don't exactly help. Sometimes I increase the pressure. I don't do it from like a horrible personal perspective at any point. I try to keep it strictly about the football, about what I'm watching. I try to take other things into account, but maybe sometimes I can add to it as well. So I hope that Yoro, I don't think he will, but I hope that he watches this video. Like, mate, keep your chin up, lad. Mistakes are made, but so long as you learn from them and so long as you develop as a footballer, mate, you're just going to look back at it and go, that wasn't that bad. And it wasn't that bad. Like the Leny Yoro that I saw last season, from that Southampton setback and the development that followed, I would predict that we're going to see a similar thing this season. And that these speed bumps that he's currently going through in terms of his form, when we look back on the season, we go, well, remember that mistake against Crystal Palace? Well, look what happened in the few months after. I imagine we're going to see the exact same thing from Leny Yoro.